Good Monday morning. Been wanting to do an extension to the sermon teasers and even the sermon to give you something more practical. And so what I would like to do, and this is kind of an introduction to all of this, is try to, on Monday morning, give you a video of more practical ideas about the sermon on Sunday. And so I hope it helps. I hope it gives you something to do in the coming week. Matter of fact, we even have a theme song. Hit it.
Oh, it's Monday, the day after Sunday. Sunday was the day we went to church. Monday is the day we are the church. It's Monday, the day after Sunday.
So this Sunday, we talked about the family as the church and how important it is for parents and grandparents and actually friends of families to be able to help children understand what our faith is about. And also that we as a church need to learn how to resource families and help them with sharing with the kids about what they learned in junior church and, on Sunday mornings. And so we're working on that and hoping connecting those together to help families. So one of the things we talked about in the sermon was Deuteronomy chapter 6, where, of course, Moses talks about that the people were to teach or talk about the law to their children when they lie down, when they get up, when they work, and all those things. And I thought it would be important for us as adults maybe to think about what does it mean for us to talk to our children about our faith. And I think Matthew 8:13 is really good about that, because that's where Jesus says you need to become like a child to enter the kingdom of God. The greatest of these is a child in the kingdom of God. And what does that mean to us as adults? Are we childish? Do we do childish things like play on playgrounds? Or is it something different? I like, there's a guy named Craig Morris. He's a leader of the C.S. Lewis Institute, and he had an article about being childlike, not childish, but childlike. And he addressed several issues that we need to do. He talked about being humble and having humility, questions, the sense of wonder, the sense of trust, and of hope. And he said that all of these combined together help us to become childlike in our relationships, in our places of work, as well as in our homes. And so I want to do is look at three particular ones in the next 3 weeks, since I'll be gone for on vacation. And the first one I want to look at today is asking questions. You all know that our children, particularly when they're around 2 or 3 years old, begin to ask questions. They want to kind of figure out the world, and so they just don't take things as we say as we do, but they want to ask. And the biggest question they ask is, why? 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 And it can really annoy parents. I don't think that's near as annoying as when your kids turn into teenagers and they begin to ask the why question. Why can't I go to the party? Why do I have to do the dishes? Why are we going on vacation? Why? This why question is important, but also it's a question that can get on our nerves. Now, when this Craig Morris talks about the willingness to ask questions, it's not just this why question that we're asking about it, but it's about the fact that we, as we grow older, we quit asking questions. We begin to think we know it. We know the answers. We know why flowers grow. We know why the sky's blue, and all those kinds of things. And so I think that when we look at Deuteronomy chapter 6, and with a childlike attitude from Matthew 18, we need to think about asking questions rather than giving out knowledge. When our children ask us about things or wonders about what we do in our faith, we need to find good questions that help them to explore what the understanding is. We need to reclaim questions. Any good counselor, spiritual director, their gift is being able to ask you a question that just opens up your understanding of something. And I think that as a parent, instead of telling our kids what we think we know, maybe we ought to turn it around and ask them a question back and listen carefully to what they're saying and try to understand what they're doing. I think that gives a faith that grows in children and in ourselves as well.
Pastor's Pet Peeves.
Another little segment I like to do is called Pastor's Pet Peeves. Just those little things that maybe annoy me as a pastor that we see so often. And our pastor's pet peeve today is there's a reality that there are some bad questions. And I think that sometimes we don't realize they're bad questions. I've been to a lot of seminars and trainings, particularly for mountain climbing. And particularly this story comes from a mountain climbing experience where we were training to learn what to do in case we fall inside a crevasse of a glacier, and the ropes and the techniques that we need to use. And our instructor, he knew what he was doing, but at the same time, he didn't know how to teach. He would say to you, "Hey, you all know how to tie a butterfly, don't you?" Now, I knew how to tie a butterfly knot. It's kind of a basic knot. But I don't know if everybody else here knew how to tie a butterfly. So I intentionally would say, "No, I don't know, tell us." And he would show us. And he did that the whole time. That was his teaching method of asking us questions that really weren't helpful. They were making you feel like you didn't know stuff. And I think sometimes, even in the church, I know as a pastor, I do it sometimes, like, "Well, you know where Hezekiah is in the Bible." Hezekiah is not in the Bible. It's not a book in the Bible. But we ask those kinds of questions that inhibit conversation and inhibit people participating. So that's kind of one of my
Pastor's Pet Peeves.
Well, getting back to our subject, asking good questions is part of being like childlike, even in our older ages. God is very open to us asking questions all the time. And even that annoying teenage question that even becomes maybe more annoying as an adult, why? Why did this have to happen? Why did he have to die? Why? God welcomes those questions. And I think also, as we continue to raise our children in faith, that we also need to welcome those questions that they give to us. Questions that help us to understand our faith a little bit better. Questions that help our grandchildren and children to begin to think about their faith, to explore it. We don't need to give them, facts and figures and unwanted advice, but helping them and helping us to maybe explore, well, what does this really mean in our lives? How can we ask better questions when people are asking us questions as well? So this is not just for ourselves, but this level of asking questions, and as we will look at the sense of wonder in the world and the perception of hope in our lives, all helps all of us to grow in faith and grow in our understanding of what Jesus Christ wants from us.
Oh, it's Monday, the day after Sunday. Sunday was the day we went to church. Monday is the day we are the church. It's Monday.